Most people believe that the rich are rich because they simply earn more money. But that's not actually the reason. In fact, there are millions of people around the world earning high salaries who are still living paycheck to paycheck. At the same time, there are people with completely average incomes quietly building serious wealth over time. So what's the real difference? Why does money seem to multiply for some people, while others work harder every year but never seem to move forward financially? The answer is not luck, and it's not intelligence either. It comes down to a few hidden financial rules that wealthy people understand very early in life, rules that most people are never taught. And once you see these rules clearly, the way you think about money may change forever.
Now, let's discuss about the biggest money misunderstanding. One of the biggest misunderstandings about wealth is the belief that income creates wealth. It sounds logical. If someone earns more money, they should naturally become richer over time. But when economists began studying the financial behavior of households, they discovered something surprising. A large percentage of high-income earners are not actually wealthy. They earn a lot of money, but they also spend a lot of money. Their lifestyle grows every time their income grows. A better house, a more expensive car, more luxury purchases. And slowly, without realizing it, their financial life becomes more expensive every year. This phenomenon is often called lifestyle inflation. It's one of the biggest reasons people struggle financially, even when they earn good money. On the surface, their lives look successful, but behind the scenes, their income is constantly flowing out just as fast as it flows in. Meanwhile, wealthy individuals tend to operate with a completely different mindset. They don't focus only on how much money they earn. They focus on what their money is doing while they sleep. Instead of thinking about income, they think about assets. Assets are things that put money into your pocket over time. For example, businesses, investments, real estate, dividend-paying stocks. These assets continue producing value long after the initial work is done. And this is where the financial gap between different groups of people begins to grow. Not because one group works harder, but because one group builds systems that allow their money to grow independently.
Assets. The power of assets. The true engine of wealth is not income, it is ownership. When you own assets that grow over time, you begin to benefit from something extremely powerful: compounding. Compounding happens when your money begins to generate additional money, and then that new money begins to generate even more money. Over long periods of time, this effect can become incredibly powerful. Imagine someone who invests a small amount of money consistently every month. At first, the growth appears slow. The numbers barely move. But over years and decades, the growth begins to accelerate. The investments begin generating their own income, and that income is reinvested again and again. Eventually, the process becomes almost self-sustaining. This is why many wealthy individuals focus less on how much they earn each year and more on how many income-producing assets they control. Because once enough assets are in place, the money begins to work on its own. Instead of trading time for income, wealth begins to come from ownership, and that shift changes everything. It allows people to build financial stability, independence, and eventually freedom over how they spend their time.
Now, why most people never build assets? If building wealth through assets is so powerful, then a very reasonable question appears. Why don't more people do it? Why do so many hardworking people spend decades working, yet never build assets that generate income for them? The answer is not laziness, and it's not a lack of intelligence either. The real reason is that most people grow up inside a financial system that quietly trains them to think in only one direction: earning and spending. From a young age, the system teaches us a very clear pattern. Go to school, study hard, get a good job, earn a stable income. And while this path can provide security, it rarely teaches the most important financial skill of all: ownership. Most people are trained to become excellent workers, but very few are taught how to become owners. As a result, many people spend the majority of their lives trading time for money. They wake up early. They commute to work. They dedicate hours of energy and focus to their job, and at the end of the month, they receive a paycheck. But the moment that paycheck arrives, most of it is already assigned to expenses. rent or mortgage, transportation, food, bills, subscriptions, insurance, debt payments. By the time everything is paid, there is often very little left to invest. And because this cycle repeats every month, year after year, many people never accumulate the capital needed to purchase assets. This is what economists sometimes call the income consumption cycle. Money comes in, money goes out, and the process repeats again. Breaking out of this cycle requires a very different mindset. Instead of asking the question, "How much money can I spend?" we begin asking a more powerful question. How much money can I keep working for me? That single shift in thinking can slowly begin to change the direction of a person's financial life. Because every dollar that becomes an asset is a dollar that begins working on your behalf. And over time, those dollars begin building momentum.
Now, let's dive into the financial trap that keeps people working forever. There is another powerful force that quietly keeps many people stuck in the paycheck cycle, and that force is debt combined with lifestyle pressure. In many modern societies, success is often measured by visible consumption: a bigger house, a newer car, luxury brands, frequent travel. And while there is nothing inherently wrong with enjoying the rewards of hard work, problems begin when lifestyle expectations grow faster than financial stability. Because every time someone increases their lifestyle through borrowed money, they also increase the amount of income they must generate just to maintain that lifestyle. This creates what many financial experts call the golden handcuffs. From the outside, everything looks impressive: a beautiful home, a luxury vehicle, expensive possessions. But behind the scenes, these items often come with large monthly payments and financial freedom. Suddenly, changing careers becomes risky. Taking time off becomes difficult. Starting a business becomes nearly impossible, because the financial obligations continue regardless of personal goals. This is why many wealthy individuals follow a very different rule early in life. Instead of using debt to fund consumption, they use capital to purchase assets. Assets that grow, assets that generate income, assets that increase in value over time. And as those assets expand, they begin covering living expenses. At that point, financial pressure begins to decrease, because income is no longer coming from only one place. It's coming from multiple sources that continue working even when the owner is not actively working.
So, what's the wealth formula long-term investors follow? When researchers study the financial habits of individuals who quietly build large amounts of wealth, they often notice a pattern. These individuals are not necessarily chasing fast profits. They are following a simple formula that focuses on consistency and patience. The formula is surprisingly simple. Earn income, spend less than you earn, invest the difference into assets. Repeat the process for many years. At first, the results appear modest, but time slowly amplifies the results. Every new investment begins adding another small engine of growth. And over long periods of time, those engines begin working together. This is why many experienced investors emphasize the importance of long-term thinking. Short-term markets can move unpredictably. Prices rise, prices fall, economic conditions change. But long-term ownership of productive assets has historically been one of the most reliable paths to wealth creation. Because businesses grow, innovation continues, populations expand, and the global economy gradually evolves. By participating in that growth through ownership, investors allow their wealth to grow alongside the world's economic progress. And that is one of the most powerful financial strategies ever discovered.
One of the most powerful differences between people who build wealth and those who struggle financially is not intelligence or luck. It is something much simpler: the ability to delay gratification. In simple terms, delayed gratification means choosing a larger reward in the future instead of a smaller reward today. This concept has been studied for decades in psychology. Researchers discovered that individuals who develop the habit of delaying immediate pleasure often perform better in many areas of life, including finances, because wealth building almost always requires patience. When someone invests money instead of spending it, they are essentially telling themselves, "I'm choosing future freedom over temporary pleasure." At first, this can feel uncomfortable because modern society constantly encourages immediate consumption, new gadgets, new fashion, new trends, new experiences. And while enjoying life is important, constantly prioritizing immediate pleasure often prevents people from building long-term financial stability. Wealth builders tend to approach this differently. Instead of asking, "What can I buy today?" they ask a different question. What can this money become if I invest it? That question transforms money from something that disappears into something that grows. And over many years, that small habit can quietly build enormous financial momentum.
Now, let's discuss about a simple wealth strategy anyone can start. When people first begin learning about investing and wealth building, the entire topic can feel overwhelming. There are thousands of strategies, thousands of financial products, thousands of opinions. And this complexity often causes people to delay taking action. But the truth is that wealth building does not require complicated strategies to begin. In fact, many experienced investors follow surprisingly simple principles. The first step is creating a habit of consistent investing. Instead of trying to predict the perfect moment to invest, many investors simply contribute small amounts regularly, month after month, year after year. This approach allows them to slowly accumulate ownership in productive assets. Over time, these investments begin generating returns, and those returns can be reinvested to purchase even more assets. Another powerful principle is diversification. Rather than placing all money into a single investment, many investors spread their capital across different assets. This helps reduce risk while still allowing long-term growth. But perhaps the most important strategy is simply starting early. Because time is one of the most powerful forces in wealth building. Someone who begins investing even small amounts in their 20s can often build significantly more wealth than someone who waits until their 40s to begin. Not because they invested more money, but because they gave their investments more time to compound. This is why many financial educators say that the greatest advantage an investor can have is not knowledge, it is time.
Another powerful aspect is the quiet power of financial awareness. One of the most important truths about money is that wealth rarely happens overnight. It grows slowly, quietly, almost invisibly at first. Many people give up too early because they expect immediate results. It works. These small steps may not feel significant in the beginning, but over time, they begin shaping an entirely different financial future. Because when knowledge combines with patience, something powerful begins to happen. Money starts working differently. Opportunities become easier to recognize. Decisions become more strategic. And gradually, financial stability begins replacing financial stress. The most important step is simply becoming aware of how the system works. Because once you understand the rules of money, you can begin playing the game differently. And that awareness alone can change the direction of an entire lifetime.
You know what? Building wealth is not about luck. And it's not about making perfect decisions every time. It's about understanding a few powerful principles and applying them consistently over time. If you found this video helpful, consider liking the video and sharing it with someone who might benefit from understanding how money really works. And if you want to continue learning simple principles that can help you build long-term financial stability, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next video. Because in the next video, we're going to explore something even more surprising: the hidden money habits that quietly keep millions of people stuck financially without them ever realizing it. And once you see these habits clearly, it becomes much easier to avoid them. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building a better financial future.